Hello, Morongo Basin and listeners around the world online at Z107.7 FM.com. Here is the Z107.7 local news for Monday, February 19th, 2024. A man was shot and killed in Joshua Tree, and the suspect is considered at large. On Thursday night at around 11:30 p.m., deputies from the Sheriff's Morongo Basin Station say they responded to reports of gunfire in the 4700 block of Avenida La Mañana in Joshua Tree. They say they found Richard Andrade, a 52-year-old resident of Morongo Valley, suffering from gunshot wounds. Andrade was taken to a hospital where he succumbed to his injuries and was pronounced dead. As part of the investigation, the sheriff's homicide detail determined that Andrade was shot outside of the residence on Avenida La Mañana. Deputies continued their investigation throughout Friday at the residence. The sheriff's department said that the suspect is currently unknown and remains at large. This investigation is ongoing, and anyone with information about the case is urged to contact the homicide detail at 909-890-4904 or contact the anonymous tip line at 1-800-78-CRIME. 2 arrests were made at a suspected Joshua Tree drug lab that saw sheriff's deputies seize 58 guns, explosives, and 2 pounds of methamphetamine. On Wednesday, the Morongo Basin Station's multi-enforcement team investigated the suspected sales of narcotics at a house in the 60,000 block of Post Road in Joshua Tree. A search warrant at the house was executed, and investigators arrested 2 Joshua Tree men in connection with the investigation. William Robertson, 67, and George Gladden, 50, were both arrested on suspicion of being felons in possession of firearms, possession of narcotics for sale, and drug manufacturing. They were both booked into the Morongo Basin Jail with bail set at $700,000 each. Investigators confiscated 58 firearms, ammunition, approximately 2 pounds of methamphetamine, a clandestine drug lab, explosive devices, and proceeds from illicit narcotic sales. The Sheriff's Narcotics Division and Bomb and Arson Detail responded to safely remove the drug lab and explosives. Today is President's Day, meaning most government agencies are closed. For the high desert, closures include post offices, Morongo Unified School District schools, the Sheriff's Department, San Bernardino County Courts, and Senior Center lunches. Government agencies will reopen tomorrow for normal business hours. Tomorrow, the 29 Palms Planning Commission will meet to discuss glamping campgrounds before digging into the vacation home rental violations database. Reporter Heather Clisby has more.
The 29 Palms Planning Commission gathers this week to discuss regulations for special occupancy parks, informally private glamping campgrounds within city limits. Currently, city regulations list camping and RV parks under the same section of the Development Code with the same standards. However, city staff believes that the many levels of permitting are problematic in their complexities and would be a challenge to implement and enforce, especially the dry or primitive campgrounds that lack water access and plumbing. The commission will also review the vacation home rentals violation database. Currently, the city has 439 VHR permits issued and 10 permits pending within the 500 allowed. While numbers of permits have declined, code enforcement receives weekly complaints, usually relating to noise, night sky ordinance violation, too many vehicles, overflowing trash receptacles, unpermitted VHRs, illegal campgrounds, and signage. The meeting takes place on Tuesday, February 20th at 5 p.m. at City Hall, 6136 Adobe Road. It can be live streamed or viewed on demand via the city's website, 29palms.org. Reporting for Z107.7, I'm Heather Clisby.
The 29 Palms Public Cemetery District Board of Trustees meets in regular session for the first time in 2024 tomorrow afternoon. Trustees will be sworn in by Steve Reyes on behalf of the County Board of Supervisors for their 4-year terms. The board will then receive an overview of financial reports in the months since November and a review of cemetery staff operations. The board's meeting is open to the public and begins at 4:30 p.m. tomorrow at 5350 Encilia Avenue in 29 Palms. Copper Mountain College President Darren Otten discussed the school's construction trades program with Gary Daigneault on last week's Z107.7 Up Close show. The program is a practical avenue for students seeking immediate local job placement after graduation. Assignment reporter Gabriel Hart brings us a closer look.
One of the most important elements of a community college, Danielle explained, is reacting to the needs of the community by providing programs in specific demand to the region. As a former small business owner, CMC President Darren Otten partnered with the local community college for a labor force to support his business. Now that he's on the education side of the equation, Otten discussed CMC's construction trades program.
Well, I think the key is always going to be a critical mass and a pathway for students to study a subject matter and then have opportunity for local employment. Our latest perfect example of that was the construction trades program that we built specifically based off the need of local contractors who wanted to try to find a reliable employee group that they could obviously, employ, put to work that had a skill set that they were looking for, whether it was framing, rough framing, finish carpentry, plumbing, electrical, concrete, all of those base level skills across the curriculum. And, that particular program is really designed for a student to come in, get that base level experience, prove that they can show up, prove that they can go to work, and then go out to the trade and work for, another, business owner or another contracting firm. And, maybe they'll come back to Copper Mountain College and pick up a business degree and then hang their own shingle and start their own contracting firm.
While it can be frustrating raising children or growing up where opportunities may be lacking, Danielle mentioned sometimes families must leave in order to find that opportunity. But while CMC offers the trade program, it offers the dual benefit for employers and employees to keep it local.
It definitely is something that, we can't stress enough. The opportunities for social and economic mobility that come from investing in students that ultimately stay and work here in our neighborhood.
Reporting for Z107.7, this is assignment reporter Gabriel Hart.
You can hear their full conversation by downloading the Up Close show as a podcast at Z107.7fm.com or wherever you get your podcasts. And finally,
whatever's when inverted and then knew you were somewhere else. It put me back inside myself.
That's the sound of the High Desert Choir performing in the midst of the 29 Palms Farmers Market on Saturday. The community choir's performance is part of Workshop 29 and is sponsored by the 29 Palms Public Arts Advisory Committee. They invited professional singers, amateur singers, and people who had never sung before to perform in public for a good cause. Choir leader Carolyn Pennypacker Riggs explains.
High Desert Choir is a drop-in, no experience necessary, body's choice choir. So this is for folks who, any fall anywhere on the spectrum of experience. Some people have been in choirs for years. Some have never sung with a choir. Most people tell me they have a terrible voice when they join, and I'm like, great. And people tell me they can't sing, but I know that's a lie. If they can vocalize, they can sing. There's a lot of scientific research about how good it is for your body and mind. And I have to say, it's kind of a psychedelic experience to sing harmonies in a group of people in person. And this is how I get my cheap thrills, I guess.
High Desert Choir moved throughout the farmers market, spreading their song, but also passing along a crucial message. They encouraged people to register to vote, directing shoppers to a booth where volunteers could help them register.
We thought it would be a good place to remind people to vote. It's to sing together. It's to remind folks, it's a down ballot election. Not a lot of people vote in primaries, but there are some very important issues on the ballot.
You can register to vote at registertovote.ca.gov. Keep an ear out for the High Desert Choir. They will be performing again in April, and you'll have an opportunity to join in the fun at upcoming rehearsals in Joshua Tree and 29 Palms. No registration required. That's our local news. Hear local news 7 times a day, 7 days a week at 7, 8, 9, noon, 4, 5, and 6. If you hear news happening, let us know about it. Email us at tips@z1077fm.com. Reporting for the Morongo Basin News Leader, the award-winning Z1077 Local News, I'm Jeff Harmetz.